Now that I've explained all the preparation phases, let's do a live weekly test on the fire alarm panel behind me. Step 1 is to call the ARC. So if you are connected, you would call them up. You'd often give them your postcode and a chip number or password. You're going to ask the operator to temporarily take your system offline while you do a weekly test. Step 2 is to enable your fire alarm control panel. Again, this can be done via a key switch. This particular panel has a code which I've already entered. Once the fire alarm panel is enabled, you then need to check your asset register to understand which call point needs testing. Now I've activated the controls on the fire alarm panel, I can now test my call point. Depending on the model of the call point, this particular model is a resettable element. So all I'm going to do is walk up to the call point and press it with my thumb, just like this. You'll notice a yellow bar along the top of the call point and also now a red LED. The fire alarms in the building will now be activated. Once your fire alarm call point has been activated, the alarms will sound throughout the building. As I walk back to the fire alarm panel, I need to listen to make sure that I can hear the system in all areas. Once I arrive at the fire alarm panel, I can press silence, which will silence the building's fire alarm system. The next button I can press is mute, which will mute the internal buzzer on the fire alarm panel. I'm going to go ahead now and press silence, which will silence the sounders throughout the whole building. I'm now going to press mute, and this will silence the internal sounder in the fire alarm panel itself. Once you've successfully silenced the sounders in the building and you've muted the fire alarm panel, you can now go check your connected systems. For example, if your air conditioning is connected, or your lifts, or for example, if it activates another building, this is the time to go and check that those connected systems have successfully activated. Once you've successfully checked that your connected systems have activated, we now need to reset the call point that we activated earlier. As this particular call point has a resettable element, I'm going to use the key that was provided by my fire alarm maintenance company to reset the call point. First, I'm going to put the key in the bottom of the call point, pull the drawer down, wiggle the key out, and then hold the four corners to squeeze together. Now that the call point has been successfully reset, you'll notice that the yellow bar along the top has been removed, but the red LED still remains. The red LED on the call point will remain lit until you reset the fire alarm panel. Once we've successfully reset the call point, we can now reset the fire alarm panel. I can now press reset on my fire alarm system. After about 10 to 15 seconds, the fire alarm panel should go back to a normal condition, and the only LED that it should be showing is the green power LED right here. Once we've successfully reset the fire alarm system, we'll need to make sure that all the connected systems that switched off earlier are now switched back on. For example, have the lifts come back into operation? Are the doors able to latch onto the magnets? Has the gas come back on, for example? The next step, if your fire alarm system was connected to an ARC, is to call the ARC to confirm that they have received a fire alarm signal. You'll also ask them to restore that signal and then put the system back online. So in the event of a real fire, the fire brigade can be called. That's the weekly test complete. The next thing you need to do is make sure you record this in your fire logbook. Either do this in your paper logbook, or if you've got a digital version like TIO, update the system online. While you're making that record, it's really important to write down which call point you've tested so that the next person testing the fire alarm system knows which call point to test next. If you spot any issues while doing a weekly fire test, for example, the sounders didn't activate, your key got stuck, or the fire alarm panel didn't go back to a green condition, make a record of this in your fire logbook and immediately contact your fire alarm maintenance provider. It's really important to make sure the information about a weekly fire test in your logbook is accurate, as this can be used as due diligence defence if there was a fire in your building.